The most important sort of emotion is the quietness out there, the undisturbed rustling of the wind in the leaves. It's this kind of awareness that you're living with nature, and as they're undisturbed, that gives me a sense of pride. And I was born in Germany into a family of foresters. So I had an early experience with forests and nature through that. But after the war and the chaos of the war in Europe, I looked at Canada as a great land of opportunity, and it certainly hasn't disappointed me at all. I've been delighted to be here ever since. And then I met Oasis, my wife, and she once again awakened my interest in nature because she was really very vivacious about getting out into nature. So that was wonderful, but unfortunately, tragically, it ended too soon because Oasis died of cancer at a young age, just at the time as we were going to have children. And so as the years passed, I became more contemplative about things, and I said to myself, what am I here for? What are we leaving behind? And of course my thoughts came back to leaving something behind for Oasis, and in memory of her life and her love for nature. I got in touch with the Nature Conservancy. That's really their mandate, that they try and save spaces for species that are endangered. So I turned to the Conservancy and they pointed out the West Plain Fen. It's one of the few large wetlands in southern Ontario that is still left undisturbed. It's just north of Napanee. It has a beautiful 150-acre lake in the middle, and it was about to be carved up into cottages and the wetlands paved over. So we just came in time to buy it off the developer. It's a nature reserve, which is the highest classification of protection under the Ontario Park Act. A fen is a depression in the land. It's surrounded by high ground. The fact that it is surrounded by high ground protects the environment and the ecosystem that's inside that little depression. It's quite an interesting property, and it actually crosses 5 different ecosystems and zones with very different trees and animals and flowers. But there was a trail, but you know, you had to have rubber boots to get to the lake. So we said, okay, let's build a trail and put these boardwalks across the wetland so that you can get back and forth through these wonderful 5 ecozones. And this had really made a big difference. We now find that people from the area go there regularly and enjoying, you know, this quiet nature. There's no traffic, there's no noise of any kind other than what nature produces. You know, I sort of look around and I say, the earth is the only one we've got. And nature is in fact quite frail. Everything is interrelated. And if you start disturbing one piece, you create other consequences that ultimately disturb the whole balance of nature. We take too much of our nature for granted because in Canada we fortunately still have so much of it. And so we really have an obligation to look after it and make sure that we don't ruin it for the future. Oh, you would have loved it, there's no question about that, absolutely.